Quorum, please rise during the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There are two of us up here mourning the loss of the Marquette Warriors. I'm sorry. Okay, Gold, I mean. Okay, first item on the agenda is approval of the regular meeting minutes of March 3rd. Any additions or corrections? Hogan and Hanneman. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We have a public hearing this evening as C1, HSA Commercial Real Estate Industrial Building Development in the Corporate Park. Heath? Corporate Park. And we have a meeting notice to read. Mr. Eddy.
City of Franklin Plan Commission will hold a public hearing on Thursday, March 17, 2022 at 7 p.m. in the Common Council Chambers of Franklin City Hall, 9229 West Loomis Road, Franklin, Wisconsin 53132, to take public comments regarding an application of HSA Commercial Incorporated doing business as HSA Commercial Real Estate on property owned by SFT Franklin Oakwood LLC, requesting approval of special uses to allow for the development of an approximately 271,753 square foot speculative industrial building at the northwest quarter of the parcel adjacent to the future Hickory Street, also known as Lot 1 of Certified Survey Map 9362, for e-commerce, warehousing, and distribution use, which requires special use approval per Section 15-3.0444 BB3AE of the Unified Development Ordinance, and for overnight parking for vehicles exceeding 8,000 pounds manufactured gross vehicle weight, which requires special use approval per Section 15-3.0444 BD1A3 of the Design Standards Addendum to Ordinance Number 2016-2238 of the Unified Development Ordinance, tax key number 95199940001. This public hearing is being held pursuant to the requirements and standards of Section 15-3.0701, the General Standards for Special Uses, Section 15-3.0703, Detailed Standards for Special Uses in Non-Residential Districts, and Section 15-9.0103, Applications for Special Use Permit of the City of Franklin Unified Development Ordinance. A map showing the property, effective full legal description, the application, all supporting materials are available for review and may be obtained from the city clerk by way of request to the Department of City Development at Franklin City Hall, 9229 West Loomis Road, Franklin, Wisconsin 53132 during normal business hours. Copy of the proposed special use resolution in draft form is available and open for inspection by the public in the office of the city clerk at the same address during normal business hours. The public is invited to attend the public hearing to provide input. The proposed draft form resolution is subject to revisions following public hearing and the further consideration by the Planning Commission of the City of Franklin Common Council.
Take a breath.
Yeah.
Good job. Plan Commission procedures. Heath, give us a quick rundown in English language.
Okay. The application is located there. From current slide. It's located on this property. It's actually located in the northwest quarter right here. The applicant is proposing to build a single building, 271,000, approximately 753 square feet building with 3 access points off of Oakwood Road and 1 truck access off of Hickory Street, along with stormwater requirements. The site plan was previously reviewed at the last meeting, which was approved by the Plan Commission. This is the architectural design for the building, showing all elevations. And as I mentioned, was approved last month. This is for the development of the property to include uses such as overnight truck parking, which will be located in the back of the building. There are 78 parking spaces available for that type of activity, and for the building to potentially be used by e-commerce or warehousing distribution facilities as needed. That's just an option that the applicant is requesting for the use of the property. That's it.
And the applicant now has an opportunity to give us a presentation, if they so choose, or a few words.
We really hadn't prepared anything, but The reason we're requesting this special or conditional use approval ahead of time is we're finding in the marketplace probably half of our prospects are tenants that might fall under the e-commerce classification. There are also tenants that value the trailer storage area in the back and being able to keep outside storage overnight. And so you don't want to have to come back at a later time and it'd be at a disadvantage to other, buildings in the market to seek approval. It would, hamstring us in trying to lease up the building. So we want to get that cleared ahead of time so that we're on a competitive footing with the buildings that we're competing with over in Oak Creek and other submarkets in the metro area.
Yeah, just add the reference to the outside storage would be
Jeff, your name and address.
Jeff Hoffman, business address or home address. Business address 731 North Jackson Street, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Leasing agent for Eric and his team. So Eric referenced outside storage, so it's actually the trailers for the semi trucks for some of these warehousing and distribution tenants. Just a story to kind of give you an understanding of what we're experiencing in the marketplace today and the need for the quick turn occupancy permits. Large manufacturer we deal with in Southeast Wisconsin is turning to a just-in-case inventory system where they are literally under consideration for 300,000 square feet within the next 3 weeks, just because their supply chain is so jumbled right now. And they expect that to go on for the next several years. So we are seeing tenants that are taking their destiny in their own hand with inventory storage. So the ability to get in a building very quickly, provided it meets the code in intended uses, is really, really important right now with most of the industrial tenants and users in the marketplace.
Okay, we're getting ready for a public hearing, but I'm going to jump in here. Eric, you and I have had this conversation, as has Jack. We don't intend that there be trailer parking more than overnight, to be clear.
Yeah, it's not meant to be a permanent, solution to the interior, but in terms of their
Yeah, they turn over the inventory with the trailers.
Okay. We have a properly noticed public hearing. I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone from the public here wishing to speak on this matter? Anyone wishing to speak? See when no one rise, I will close the public hearing. Questions from the commission? Commissioner, Mr. City Engineer.
So I'm okay with the intent is to not have overnight parking. Mr. Planning Manager, what would prevent, say, someone from having storage units that they park out there for a couple weeks kind of thing, or trailer where obviously we have some other places in the city where it's kind of a frustration when people park semi-trailers there on a regular basis just to park them. How would the overnight, and that's the intent, I'm okay with the intent, but how do we keep someone from basically parking a semi there that stays there for a month or more?
I don't understand the question. You mean, how am I going to enforce that?
Squatter. Yeah, how will you enforce that, squatters?
It's, the answer is, I wouldn't be able to enforce it.
Right.
The answer is, it depends on a complaint basis, because I'm not going to go out there and check that parking lot every night to make sure that they're not parking vehicles. And also, it would be up to the owners and the tenants to make sure that somebody's not just randomly parking their truck in their parking lot. We had this kind of problem with the former Gander Mountain property when they were sitting vacant and people were parking
Right.
trucks in the middle of the parking lot. It becomes a real nasty enforcement nightmare.
Right.
So it's going to depend on the property owner and the tenants primarily, making sure that somebody's not randomly parking a truck there for weeks at a time, which is not the intention, obviously. The intention is to provide some flexibility for the haulers and the distribution facility to be able to have the ability to have stuff overnight. But the answer is that it would require somebody actually complaining, and then we would have to talk to the owners and the tenants to make sure that they were on top of it.
So So if a disgruntled neighbor did want to complain and they started documenting that there was indeed the same truck that's parked there night after night, then the way it's written in here, that we could enforce that?
Yes, but it would require documentation.
Right, okay, that's what I need.
It also should be pointed out that the immediate neighbor to the south is an outlot that would be used by the, I guess, previous owners for whatever they want to use it for. So the chances are very likely that even if somebody wanted to complain, I don't know if they would see it.
Yeah, if you bring up the site plan, that wooded area directly south, which I want to say is that
That area right there.
about, is that 30 acres?
Yeah.
That will remain wooded. So that will serve as natural security. And you obviously have the significant Saputo development just to the east. So parking for the rear is rather shielded, and you guys designed that intentionally. I understand that Oak is a very prominent, it's going to be a nice boulevard
Right.
entrance to the park. So yeah, I mean, speak of detrimental look facility either. It's just a feature that a lot of the businesses are looking.
But this doesn't really say just the back, does it? Does it? Okay, apologies.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the front parking lot is not designed for semi-traffic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is condition 6. Commissioner Leon?
My next meeting is going to be about getting materials to where they need to be in an industrial capacity. Fully understand the need, and also, well, I understand that we had those issues at 27th Street and in front of Gander Mountain while it was vacant. I think it's a very different, not just layout, but very different atmosphere in general. You know, you're talking about retail versus an industrial area, and working with transportation team, working with risk, it wouldn't be in the interest of any manufacturer to keep their stuff on a vehicle like that. They would quickly look to store it properly. But with all that said, and you did just mention condition 6 that I need to look at now, but does
My
condition
apologies.
6?
Condition 4 is the one, there is no 6.
Condition
It's
4, okay. I just need to quickly look at 4. Yeah, okay, just in the back is what that's saying, south of the property. I mean, would it be possible to put slightly stronger language of overnight, no more than one night?
May I
stored out there?
suggest?
Please.
After the period on 9362, add the words, "and limited to 24 continuous hours by trailer." I see Mr.
I would expand that out in case there were a weekend involved. But if the applicant's okay with 24 hours, I would think that would suffice.
Well, I would hope that Mr. Eddy and his staff will be reasonable about that, and I'm sure we would be, because we're not going to check on Saturday. We're not going to check on Sunday.
Is the applicant okay with that proposal? Again, just knowing the nature of industry, working in supply chain, I would go longer than 24 hours. I would probably say 48 hours, 24 to 48 hours. Is applicant okay with that? Okay.
It is,
Then,
because, you know, as you pointed out, it's not in our interest to have people squatting there. It's not in the user's interest. And complaints arise, we certainly want
certainly.
If you put 48, though, that conflicts with overnight. It's all a matter of how you enforce it. 24 works.
Okay, then,
So your motion is to add
do we,
add the wording as I announced, and limited to 24 continuous hours by trailer. Is that your motion?
it is.
Is there a second? We'll do Burkhart. Just get his name in the paper. All those in favor of that motion to add that language signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Leon, you still have the floor.
That's it for me.
Anyone else? Do you have a suggested motion, Mr. Eddy? Or do you want-
I have a motion to recommend approval of a resolution imposing conditions and restrictions for the approval of a special use for the development of an approximately 271,753 square foot speculative industrial building to be used for e-commerce, warehousing, and distribution, and for the approval of a special use for overnight parking for vehicles exceeding 8,000 pounds, manufactured gross vehicle weight upon property generally located at West Oakwood Road, northwest quarter of the parcel adjacent to the future Hickory Street, otherwise known as Lot 1 of Certified Survey Map 9362.
Hanneman and Leon, that was as amended, correct? Ready? Okay, given that, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries, 5 ayes. Is there a motion to adjourn? Hogan and Leon, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Happy St. Patty's